Hello everyone, I'm Makamba Transmission, a record collector and music explorer based in Tokyo, Japan. What I want to do in this video is to show my favorite artworks and cover arts of records in my collection. Of course, I will focus on cover art aspect and artwork and in general the aesthetic of the record, but it will be just an excuse to talk about the music contained inside the record, because very often, of course, the music goes hand in hand with the aesthetic direction that the artist wanted to show with the cover design and everything else. So without further ado, let's start from the first one I want to show you, which is Sonny Simmons' Stain on the Watch, released originally in 1966 on the free jazz label ESP disc. This is a 1973 reissue, and this is the debut album by the saxophonist. The cover photograph, taken by Sandra Stallman, features Simmons standing on a rock in Central Park, New York, with his saxophone in hand, and what you can see in the skyline is Manhattan. ESP disc was known for pairing very innovative jazz recording with unforgettable cover art. And this album is definitely no exception. The stark black and white imagery captures the essence of free jazz movement, so in general very raw, unfiltered, and deeply expressive. Musically, the album is a fusion of straight-ahead jazz and more avant-garde. Simmons' alto saxophone is both fiery and introspective, especially on track number 2 on the A side, and it weaves through complex composition with a sense of urgency, I would say. The ensemble includes Barbara Donald, that was the wife of Sonny Simmons at the time, on trumpet, and John Hicks on piano, Teddy Smith on bass, and Marvin Patillo on drums. And yeah, tracks like, in addition to the second one that I talked about, track like Metamorphosis or City of David showcase the group's dynamic range, from very intense improvisation to more structured passages. Staying on the Watch is an outstanding record, not only for the musical content, but also for the iconic cover art that I would say encapsulates a pivotal moment in jazz history, represented perfectly by the release of ESP disc in this free jazz movement. Sonny Simmons, Staying on the Watch, 1966. Released in the same year on the same label, ESP disc. Charles Tyler's self-titled debut album, another significant entry in the free jazz movement for sure. Another amazing cover. This is a monochromatic photograph by Raymond Ross and presents a close-up of Charles Tyler's face, partially obscured by shadows. This play of light and darkness evokes a sense of mystery and introspection, setting the tone for the music within. As you can see, this is a Japanese reissue from the 70s as well. Musically, this album is a very bold exploration in free jazz. Charles Tyler will be known later in his career for his baritone saxophone work, but on this record he showcases his skill on the alto sax. Alto sax across 4 original compositions. Again, the album's cover art complements the musical content. As I was saying, it conveys a sense of both exploration and depth and mystery. It's a very interesting record that pushes every listener to make an effort to enter Tyler's avant-garde vision of jazz. Charles Tyler, self-titled, 1966, ESP disc. And again, staying the same year, same label. I'm really a fan of this style of covers. This is the self-titled by Marion Brown, released on 1966 on ESP. This is a 1975 Japanese reissue, unfortunately without Obi. The cover, again, is another black and white photograph, this time taken by Charles Shabakon, who is known more for his works with Sun Ra. As you can see, the image is a very blurred, high contrast shot of Brown playing on the saxophone, and it conveys a sense of raw energy, mystery that mirrors the album's musical exploration. This is more of a deep dive into the avant-garde jazz scene of the mid-60s. The alto saxophone of Marion Brown leads the way through 3 extended compositions, and the lineup that's supporting him is made of Alan Shorter on trumpet, Benny Coleman on saxophone, Ronnie Boykins and Reggie Johnson on bass, and Rashid Ali on drums. Tracks like Capricorn Moon and 27 Cooper Square showcase Marion Brown's ability to blend structured melodies with free-form improvisation, and they create a sound that is challenging, but at the same time also very captivating. Really nice that you never heard such sounds in your life, ESP disc. I think that if you like one of these records, you would like all of them. Different level of enjoyment, of course, but they're all super good in my opinion. And again, the cover art and the music together offer a glimpse into this particular movement, free jazz exploration that ESP was releasing at the time, and all these artists were pushing boundaries and exploring new sonic landscapes. So this was Marion Brown, self-titled 1966 ESP disc. And wrapping up this series of ESP disc releases from 1966, we have another self-titled, this time the self-titled by Sonny Murray. This is a Japanese reissue with Obi from 1975. The cover is a black and white photograph by Ray Gibson, capturing Murray's typical intense facial expression as he plays. It's a powerful image and it reflects the energy, especially the raw energy of his drumming style, I would say. I'm a bit biased because I really love Sonny Murray and a lot of records that he was part of, but I think this album here is a cornerstone in free jazz. Sonny Murray leads a quintet. Let me see, yeah, here we go. Let me move the orbit. So we have Jacques Courcelle on trumpet, very underrated trumpet player, in my opinion. Jack Graham on alto sax, Bard Lancaster on alto sax as well, Al Silva on bass, and of course Sonny Murray on drums. The compositions here are two per side, very adventurous. Tracks like Phase 1, 2, 3, 4, Angels and Devils, they showcase the group improvisational skills. The style of Sonny Murray is very dynamic and unconventional, and it often abandons traditional rhythms more in favor of a fluid and expressive approach. This album, in addition to the great cover as well, is in my opinion a testament to his innovative spirit and significant contribution in general on the evolution of free jazz, especially of the mid-60s. So this was Sonny Murray to conclude my series on ESP disc releases from 1966. Next, we have Sonny Sharrock, Black Woman. I know I already talked about this record in my 2024 jazz purchases video, but I have to bring it up again because this cover is arguably my absolute favorite in my entire collection. This is a reissue from 2023 on Superior Viaduct, and the original was released on Vortex in 1969. So we are again in the free jazz scene, and the photograph was taken by Ray Gibson, who is the same photographer who did the cover for Sonny Murray's self-titled that I just showed you. In this case, again, we have another black and white image of Sonny Sharrock and his then wife, Linda Sharrock. And there's really something magical, in my opinion, about Linda's eyes in this photo. They draw you in and convey so much emotion just with a simple expression. I think this image captures the intensity and avant-garde spirit of the music perfectly, because the music inside is a landmark in free jazz. Sonny's guitar is very raw, expressive, and Linda's vocals range goes from soulful to powerful to wordless screams. It's really more than just music, it's a full-blown emotional experience. Each track pushes boundaries and challenges the listener, and it makes the entire record a standout in Sonny Sharrock discography. Again, the cover art and music together create a really powerful statement, and it's a record that just doesn't just sit on the shelf. It really demands your attention, but is also able to provide you a lot of satisfaction after you get into it. This is Black Woman by Sonny Sharrock. And staying in the realm of jazz with vocals, not exactly vocal jazz, but let's say experimental, free, spiritual jazz, but with the use of vocals. We have Eddie Gale, Ghetto Music, originally released in 1968 on Blue Note. This is a reissue from 2003 on Four Men with Beards. This album is an absolute standout in my collection, both for its powerful music and the striking cover art, which is a photograph taken by Richard Graff, and it features a group of musicians dressed in these hooded robes, accompanied by dogs, standing on this grassy hill. It evokes a sense of mystery and purpose, as if they're like a traveling ensemble bringing unheard music to the world. It's really a phenomenal record, one of the most intense jazz albums I've heard, and one of the greatest jazz records with the presence of vocals, as I was saying, together with, I would say, Black Woman by Sonny Sharrock, and also We Insist by Max Roach. The blend of free jazz, gospel, soul creates a deeply spiritual and emotionally charged experience. This edition is a gatefold, and Eddie Gale assembled a unique ensemble for this album. There are, I think, 2 bass players, 2 drummers, and a 11-member choir. The result is a rich soundscape that pushes the boundaries of jazz. And I really love this record. Just look, these pictures just show the entire mystery that I was talking about, and this sort of also Afrofuturism theme, I would say. I'm not really sure, but I really were able to capture the essence of this record. Despite his brilliance, Gale didn't release many records under his own name. There is another very good one, Black Rhythm Happening, after this one. But in general, he only participated in other musician ensembles. So this Ghetto Music here is a rare and treasured gem in the jazz world, and one of my favorite jazz records for sure. Eddie Gale's Ghetto Music, unfortunately very overlooked sometimes, but definitely recommended. And since I just mentioned it, we have now We Insist, Max Roach, Freedom Now Suit. Originally from 1960, this is a Japanese reissue from 1970. So the cover here features a photograph by Hugh Bell and is designed by Paul Bacon. In this case, the design is very important because the way the lettering is implemented in the space and the font, etc., everything fits perfectly. The image references the non-violent sit-ins the African American university students were doing during the civil rights movements in 1960, so it's very contemporary to when this record was released originally. And in fact, the music and the lyrics on the album are deeply connected to the themes of civil rights. It incorporates African rhythms with contribution from percussionist Babatunde Olatunji from Nigeria, and features, of course, powerful vocal performances by Abby Lincoln, who was Max Roach's wife at the time. Here are Olatunji and Abby Lincoln shown in picture. Then we have Coleman Hawkins and Max Roach, of course. The vocal performance of Abby Lincoln, what is there to say about? Like, it really conveys pain and catharsis that aligns very well with the album message. So We Insist, of course, is considered one of the most important records in African American culture and jazz. Therefore, it had a significant impact on modern culture as a whole. Great cover, fantastic record. We Insist, Max Roach. Next, we continue with another jazz record. I know I'm showing a lot of jazz, but it's because I think the aesthetic of the cover art, especially in the 60s and 70s, were really taken care of in a very detailed way, and the result shows. So this is Blow Up by Isao Suzuki, Japanese jazz, released on 3 Blind Mice. Originally this record is from 1973, but this is a reissue from 1975. The cover art was created by Ben Nishizawa and is a captivating collage featuring a monkey, various human faces, and a prominent Coca-Cola advertisement. I really like the color scheme on this one, with the bold title at the top, and they create a separation with the rest, and in general, yeah, I was saying the color scheme very nice, fits well together. And this is the back cover, again with the monkey, and the colors of Triple M Mice records. As it is common on releases by this label, the recording quality is exceptional. Each instrument nuances are captured with clarity and depth. In fact, I think I've read somewhere that this record in particular, Blow Up, is considered a reference recording among audiophiles, that they use this one to check the hi-fi systems. I don't know if it's true, but kind of makes sense considering the separation of instruments and in general the quality of pressing. So this is Blow Up by Isao Suzuki Trio and Quartet. I'll continue with a classic, of course. This is Saxophone Colossus by Sonny Rollins, originally from 1956 on Prestige. This is a 1975 Japanese reissue, and it's one of the most famous Sonny Rollins record, and of course a masterpiece and cornerstone in the world of jazz. Not much I can add regarding the music inside. This record is very famous. The cover art, designed by Tom Hannan, is outstanding in my opinion. It features a silhouette of Sonny Rollins playing the saxophone against a bold blue background. And this contrast between the dark image and the vibrant blue makes the saxophone stand out, perfectly aligning with the album's title, Saxophone Colossus. In addition to Rollins, here we have Tommy Flanagan on piano, Doug Watkins on bass, and the great Max Roach on drums. Together, they deliver some of the most memorable performances in jazz history. It's no wonder that Saxophone Colossus remains one of the most celebrated jazz records of all time. The music is just fantastic if you like this style of jazz. But yeah, for this video I wanted to highlight in particular the cover, which is one of my favorite. Saxophone Colossus by Sonny Rollins. Moving forward, this is Science Fiction by Ornette Coleman, another record that I previously showed in my jazz purchases video, originally from 1972. I think this is an original pressing on Columbia Records. The cover features a painting by Robert Amst, an American artist from Chicago. The artwork presents this very atmospheric scene with glowing lights reflecting on water, I think, creating this surreal and otherworldly ambience. I'm not a great fan of the font used in the album title, but the painting itself is very emotional in my opinion. And the record is amazing. I already talked about it briefly in my other video, so I will refer you to that one. In particular, the performance of Ed Blackwell on drums is one of my favorite drum performances in jazz. So again, Ornette Coleman, Science Fiction, great painting and color scheme. And the last jazz record I want to feature in this video is Al-Fatihah by Black Unity Trio. The group is from Cleveland, Ohio, and includes Joseph Phillips with the Muslim name of Yusuf Mumin on alto sax, Hassan Abdur Shahid on drums, and Ron DeVoe with the name Abdul Wadud on cello and bass. Wadud later will become a significant feature in the New York loft jazz scene, so it's probably the most famous name in the trio. And originally this was released in 1969 on Salam Records, but this is a reissue from 2021 on Gotta Groove Records. The original record had a white cover with a black and white photo, but this reissue flips that to this black background, and I think it looks even better than the original if you want to check it out online. The slightly blurred blurred image adds this layer of mystery that complements the depth of the music. And in fact, this album is very intense and deeply spiritual. It's one of the most profound free jazz records I've encountered, with a dark, reflective atmosphere that really draws you in. And despite being lesser known, in my opinion, it's really a masterpiece that deserves more recognition. So if you don't know it, please check it out. It should be pretty simple to find on streaming even. Black Unity Trio, Al-Fatihah, with this black background cover in the 2021 reissue. Different genre, but we continue with black and white cover art. This one is Pass Me by Andy Stott. As you can see, no font on the title, on the cover, just the picture itself. This is a very dark and ominous dub techno record released in 2011 on Modern Love. This cover features a photograph by the Hungarian anthropologist Emil Tordey, who conducted expeditions in Africa, particularly in Congo in the early 20th century, and the image is from one of those expeditions. It's a man with this prominent facial scars, and the black and white color scheme enhances the dreadful look. The expression of the subject is the photograph that resonates with the album mood. It's very intense, mysterious, and deeply immersive. On the flip side, we have another picture. Yeah, Andy Stott in general is very known for meticulous attention to the art direction of his records, and this cover is a prime example of how visual elements can complement and enhance the listening experience. The record itself is characterized by slow tempos, heavy bass line, texture soundscapes, and this combination will leave you physically and spiritually exhausted in the end. It's very introspective club music that is more to evoke sensation of isolation and dread more than club dancing. Great one, Pass Me by Andy Stott. Bringing colors back into the mix. Here we have a picture disc. This is Mushi by the Stalin, one of the most well-known records in 1980s Japanese punk rock. So the Stalin is a band led by Michiro Endo, and it was known for the provocative name, of course, and confrontational style, aiming to challenge and provoke the audience in general in a perfect punk fashion. So the record is a picture disc, as I was saying. So we have on the A side this cover art, which is a striking illustration by Suehiro Maruo, who is a manga artist renowned for his grotesque and surreal style in general. Not in this case, but yeah, here it features a ninja wielding guns against this sort of war backdrop, encapsulating the band's aggressive and rebellious spirit. On the flip side, we have the red star. The title Mushi means insect. Picture discs in general always had a unique visual element to the listening experience, in my opinion. This is not an exception. The combination of Maruo's artwork and the band's intense sound makes this a great one to have in any punk collection. This is Mushi by the Stalin. Moving to another picture disc. Let me take it out of the sleeve. This is probably my favorite picture disc in my collection. It's a jungle record. It's a collaboration between several artists: Digital, Ricky Force, Mecca, The Guyver, Threshold, Gem 1, etc. But the title of the record is Unknown Elements 3, The Third Law. The artwork features a bold, futuristic design with this mecha robot, and vibrant orange, yellow color scheme really stands out. On the A side, on the B side, we have this red on a orange city. This was released in 2017 on Ako Beats, which is a jungle label known for its distinctive style in the jungle scene, and this record, as I was saying, is a collaboration between 5-6 different artists. The combination of the striking design and the innovative music makes this release a standout piece, in my opinion, sonically and visually. And as I was saying, my favorite picture disc in my collection. We stay in electronic music, in this case a bit more experimental, but this is R+7 by Daniel Lopatin, released under his Oneohtrix Point Never moniker. This is on Warp Records from 2013. The cover art is a recreation of a still image from a 1982 short film by the Swiss animator George Zweisbel. And the recreation is by Robert Beatty, who is a member of the noise band Air Police from the US, which is quite a good band if you don't know it. The artwork itself features an empty minimalist room with stark lighting and this sort of geometric shapes and lines. At first glance, the scene feels calm and orderly, but as you start listening to the music, the complexity and juxtaposition of sounds create a sense of unease and introspection. The absence of any text on the cover adds to this enigmatic style, in my opinion. The album itself, it's a gatefold with a picture of Daniel Lopatin and a mask. And the music itself is a departure from Lopatin's previous work, which was more vaporwave or ambient. This has more fragmented melodies, synthetic sounds, abrupt shifts and digital textures, and the final result is a soundscape that is nostalgic but also futuristic at the same time. The best track is Chrome Country, which is, in my opinion, the best thing that Lopatin ever released in his career among all different monikers. And again, yeah, the interplay between the visual of the cover art and the intricate audio makes R+7 a very compelling experience and definitely one of the most important records in the past 20 years in electronic music. Then we have Dread, Beat and Blood by Poet and the Roots. This is the debut album by Poet and the Roots, which is the project of Linton Kwesi Johnson, who is a Jamaican-born poet who moved to the UK when he was young. He pioneered this genre of dub poetry, which is a blend of spoken word, poetry, reggae and dub rhythms to address mainly social and political issues. The cover art is an illustration by Yuna Hao, which I didn't find many information about, but the cover art is just amazing in my opinion. It depicts a woman and a child facing a line of riot police with these bold strokes of blue and red, highlighting the tension and violence of the scene. And the woman's posture in particular suggests a sense of resignation, reflecting the struggles faced by the Caribbean communities in 1970s London. This is the back cover with probably a demonstration from those years. Yeah, what else to say? The black and white illustration with these color accents captures the theme of resistance and oppression that permeate the entire album, and the lyrics, of course. It's a powerful visual representation of the message that the music wants to convey, and a great record. Poet and the Roots, Dread, Beat and Blood from 1978. Moving to something more light-hearted and less political, this is Yumi Matsutoya with Sakuban or aishimashou. This record originally had Aobi, not this version, but it's pretty common to find also in better condition than this one. This one has a cover art designed by the British studio Hypnosis, which is a design studio renowned for their work with bands like Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin and many other famous rock bands. The photograph showcases a woman standing with her back to the camera in a vast, barren landscape. I think this is shot in Iceland, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, in general, the muted color palette and the expansive scenery evokes a sense of solitude and introspection. And in the back, there is kind of a continuation with this man looking at her. And I really like the this strip that separates the coloring between the landscape and the subject. The absence of text on the cover adds to its enigmatic quality, and the woman's posture and desolate environment create a melancholic atmosphere that complements the themes explored in the album. Usually I'm not a big fan of city pop. This record, on the other hand, has some good moments for sure, but in my opinion, yeah, the strong point is definitely the cover. There are some good tracks, but again, I'm not a big fan of city pop, even if it's very popular nowadays. But yeah, this was Yumi Matsutoya with Sakuban aishimashou, released in 1981. And I want to conclude the video with another Japanese record. I talked about it already in another video, but this is Douji Morita, A Boy, released in 1977. It's a haunting blend of outsider and chamber folk with psychedelic and melancholic undertones. In my opinion, it's her best record. Yeah, it's just outstanding from start to finish. The cover art is by Haruo Takino, who is an artist known for his hyper-realistic illustration, primarily for movie posters. This is one of the few record covers he worked on. And the artwork depicts the solitary figure of Douji Morita, with her characteristic curly hair, lying on a grassy field under a dark, eclipsed moon. And this evokes a sense of isolation and otherworldliness in general. It has a gloomy sci-fi feel that perfectly matches the music. The nice touch is also the obi that continues the artwork, both on the front and in the back cover as well, with this sort of sci-fi touch. In general, yeah, the combination of ethereal music and the surreal cover art creates this sort of immersive experience that is both introspective and resonates emotionally with the listener. It's a standout piece in any vinyl collection, both for its music and visual aspect. And I really like this record a lot. One of my absolute favorite out of Japanese music in general. And this is Douji Morita, A Boy. And this concludes this video about my favorite record covers in my collection. I hope you learned about some new records in this one. I talked about some well-known records and some lesser-known records, of course. I just hope that you find anything that interests you, maybe starting from the cover, and then you will also start loving the music. I definitely bought many records that I seen at a record store just because I was attracted by the cover, and then I did a quick research and then bought them. So for sure the visual aspect of a record is very important, also to give the first feeling. Yeah, please let me know in the comment what you think about it and what's your favorite record cover in general. Of course I also have others, but these are only records I personally own, as all the videos in my channel. So stay tuned for the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.